What is your never thought it would happen to me experience? Fathering a disabled child. As devastating as it is to find out your kid is disabled, it is crazy how it stops being about how it would impact your life and it shifts entirely to how it will impact their future. At least that is how it was for me. I was walking in downtown Montreal a few weeks back and someone came up to me on the street and asked if I wanted to buy any drugs. As a kid growing up I was led to believe this would happen all the time, but this was the first. Friend of mine, who I had known for half of my life, 14 years, was also my roommate. We are also old army pals. He's very dependent on having a GF, so when he starts dating a new girl, everything else ceases to be important. He's always been this way. A couple of months ago, we are still roommates, but he has stopped communicating with me slowly over the course of a couple of weeks and starts to sleep over at his GF's house more and more often. I go on a trip to Muscle Shoals, with my dad on a Friday and return Sunday evening. It was hot as hell, so I go to my friend's room to see if he might have an extra fan I could borrow. I open his door and all of his stuff is gone. He waited till I was gone for the weekend and skipped out on the lease, and all without saying a word to me. He could have just told me he was moving out, but he just left me holding the bag after avoiding me for a couple of weeks. I thought I had done something wrong, but after thinking about it and talking to our other friends, who he also bailed on and wasn't speaking to, I realized that he must have some serious emotional problem with latching onto women and feels that everyone else can fuck off when he has a GF. I just hope he's doing alright and everything works out for him. Went to my first club, 16 to 21 year old allowed, on senior week about 2 weeks after turning 18. Met a girl who actually seemed into me. We left and ended up having sex on the beach. Turns out she was 14 and lied to me when I asked her earlier, even showing me a fake ID. That didn't matter to the police, of course. I have a positive one. Graduating high school and college without being on an admed. I had it drilled into me by my mother and psychologists as a child that I'd never be able to get through high school, let alone college, without being on medication. I'll admit, my grades could be better, but I'm a 3L in law school, and while school has been hard, I never have to feel trapped inside my own mind, and all my success has been my own. Father having an affair. Drove 8 hours for a job interview, only to realize that I had PM and am mixed up, so I missed the interview by 12 hours. Cried my whole way back home. I was a criminal justice major in college, and then one night I went to jail while tripping on mushrooms and my teacher drove me to jail. I never thought I would have a completely healthy and normal pregnancy and then have to deliver a stillborn. I can honestly say that the silence is deafening when you've spent your life expecting to hear your baby cry. My picture being randomly taken from Google Image, horribly photoshopped to make me bald, and used for an ad for a shitty hair product in Congo. Someone from there recognized my face on the ad because I have a popular blog, SMH. Bret the Hitman Hart gave me his sunglasses as a kid when he came to my town. Stands to this day as best moment of my life. Gonna get buried, but losing my home and everything I owned in a fire. It happened right before Thanksgiving last year. Still haven't really recovered financially or emotionally. Dropped my phone in a goddamn toilet. It happened last summer. I had that iPhone 4 for 3 years before it finally fell into the water abyss and died. I then finally upgraded to the 5s, which was thankfully half price from the Verizon upgrade price because of the iPhone 6 release. I used to make fun of people who dropped their phones in toilets. I still do, but I used to too. Having to go through my dead friend's apartment after he committed suicide. Thanks for sharing your stories. Suicide is so hard because unlike a more natural death, the person doing it just decides to leave everyone. The feelings of rejection and abandonment are hard to deal with. For me it happened last year also. 3 weeks before my college graduation. He had a year left. I even had a seat saved for him for my ceremony. Instead of studying for my exams, I spent the weekend packing the things his family didn't pack. I remember sitting on his ugly plaid couch for the last time. Everything about his death was surreal. He hadn't spoken to his family in years. His fiancée had been having an affair and was pregnant with his younger brother's baby. As Josh was being lowered into the ground, they were making out in the cemetery. His family buried him in a casket from Walmart, and seeing him in it was awful. The mortician's job was botched. You could see formaldehyde leaking from his eyes. It was scary and made my heart ache even more that he didn't have a proper funeral. His mother asked me for recent pictures of him because she hadn't seen him in 5 years. I had a lot of photos and none of them had been used. They only showed pictures of him up until the age of 22. He was 30 when he died. Becoming widow at 25. 3 years this late October. Miss her every day. She got sick and lead up to having heart failure. She got a ride home from work. I had to drop off a co-worker whose car broken down. Would have been the one to pick her up. Someone didn't see her until too much time passed. Turning out gay. Now, granted, for 10 or 11 of those years before it happened, I didn't really even have a concept of what gay was. For that span of time, I never thought it would happen to me, because I never thought it. But between me learning the concept and me finding out that that was me, I didn't really ever think it would happen. Coming out to myself was a gloriously horrible shit show. Up to that point, I was perfectly fine with and supportive of other people who were gay. I didn't see a reason why I shouldn't be, considering that their personal lives weren't any of my business. But when I realized I liked guys, that was my business, and I didn't want any of it. I'd always wanted to grow up normal and get married and have kids of my own and not worrying about having to fight for every inch of progress in my life. I mean, I was a middle-class white boy, the jackpot combination of Western society, who would seriously trade that in. Keep in mind that this was my thought process when I was 14 or 15. I've long since come to my senses. Realizing someone I love was part of a shooting. Watch the news for hours. Shooting in mall. Hey, isn't that where my sister's name works? Is she working today? 3 dead, 1 expected to be the shooter. Oh well, there's hundreds of people in the mall at any time. Just wonder why she hasn't called us yet. Shooting took place around food court. She works near the food. Cold been anyone though, who knows? Here's pictures of bullet-riddled walls and witness reports. Wow, this is on every news station. It's been a few hours. Where is she? Upper level food court. Oh shit, the only stores up there are hers and some kids shops. No one with a sane mind could kill kids. But he wasn't sane, obviously. You're awful, you're wishing little kids were dead instead of your sister. Every person would, wouldn't they? Takes place in store she works at. Popular store, could be lots of people there. 1 female, 2 male, 1 expected shooter. She works in there. She's a female. Female, early 20s, white, expected to work as at store. That's her exact description. But lots of girls look like that who work there. Then the phone rings. A while back, dated a guy for nearly a year before finding out he was actually living with his real girlfriend of 8ish years. As soon as I found out, I introduced myself and told her, crying. She just shrugs her shoulders and rolls her eyes. Didn't care at all. It was surreal. Girl that asked me out. So surprised and didn't know what to do. Turned out, we weren't compatible, and I'm alone again. +1 to life experiences. Getting caught cheating on a huge test. You never think you'll get caught cheating if you cheat. You're always supposed to be afraid of getting caught cheating. But because you take those precautions to not get caught, you never actually think it's going to happen. Be honest, if you got caught you wouldn't even know what to do. You would have an idea, but the minute it happens, you can bet your ass that you will stumble your words together, unless you're a certified pathological liar. God forbid it's the SATs or some other state/national test. The odds are against you too. Once they suspect you of cheating, there isn't shit you can say against it besides no, I didn't. And at that moment, you proceed to shit your pants and wait for their verdict on whether or not you should continue your life. 6th grade was fucking rough, man.